What's going on, everyone? Hello, live. Can you guys see me? Oh, my camo? No, I'm joking. All right. See if I can get. We have Kamisha today. Rovan couldn't come on today, so we will see where she at. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Here it is. Here it is. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh,
Oh, this is so
I was
dope.
looking forward to this all day, so this
Oh,
is great. This is
that's,
great. This is great.
I'm so pumped. Thank you so
That's
much
good.
for
Excellent.
having
Yeah,
me.
no problem. No problem. Let me just take one moment for the camera and pause and just take it in. Black excellence.
I know. I need to take a screenshot of this. Okay,
There
ready?
you go.
Too excited.
No, that's good.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
let me
try
do
this again.
a quick. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Let me do a quick introduction. So today we have on Kamisha. She is one half of Russell Home Investing. Rowan or Ro couldn't join us today. He's out there, changing the world on his own accord. But we will have either him on again. We'll have both of them on again. So yes, Kamisha, thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited to chat it up today.
Me too. Me too. I love watching your lives. I love the different types of people that you bring in. I love the value. It's just short and sweet.
I love it. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's good because sometimes you put stuff out and you're like, oh, I don't know, like how this is gonna land or
Mhm.
how it's hitting. So that's good. So anyway, I got questions for you. I don't want to keep my audience waiting, so let me hit you with
Mhm.
a couple there.
Of course.
So I know you're into multifamily, and you're actually, the multifamily burr seems to be like your bread and butter, your rice and
That's
peas, like it's your
it.
go-to strategy, and I love it. Um, how do you, or could you comment on how you combine both those strategies, multifamily investing and the BRRRR
Mhm.
strategy, into an investment strategy that you're seeing to be successful today?
Yeah, great question. Great question. Um, the combination of Burr and multifamily, I feel like are just next level.
Yeah.
I think the opportunities, the lift that provides just enough for you to recapture your investors' capital and kind of reuse that if they like or give it back to them. I think there's versus kind of waiting like 3 to 5 years for the equity to kind of regain itself and then doing one property at a time. Something we really like about New Brunswick is just their like tenant landlord rules are a lot more landlord friendly. And
Okay, nice.
yeah, it's provided us an opportunity to, so each month we have one person leaving. And then so that we could still acquire the rents each month,
Yeah.
and then still working on our renovations.
That's sweet. So yeah,
Mhm.
I actually didn't really like obviously I knew you guys were doing the BRRRR, but I never really dug into it. So walk me through that. You said every month we're moving on a tenant there. Touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so we gave all the tenants that are in that fiveplex, or it's a legal fourplex that we're turning into a legal fiveplex.
Value.
And and so that's the value too, which is great because when it was appraised, it was only appraised as a fourplex.
Yeah.
So um, in New Brunswick, if they are month to month, you have the opportunity to give them a like letter of notice, just saying that they have a month, and you can negotiate too. Like
Yeah.
one of some yeah one of them said that they need 3 months, and we're like no problem. So we'll put them at the back, like the
Yeah.
last one, and this has allowed us to kind of stagger our their departure due to the opportunities that the landlord laws has to offer.
Oh, that's sweet. Because that's a really good point. Because if you're doing it one at a time, because everyone just wants to come in, kick the door down, everyone get out. But if you do that, that's fine.
Mhm,
But now you're taking all four units you got to
mhm,
renovate, so it's a lot of cash outlay. You have four vacant units, so you're losing a lot of cash,
mhm.
and then you have to release or re-tenant those four. So it's like a lot all at once. But
Right.
this one at a time. I like this. I always knew there was something going on over there. So I like that strategy a lot. Is that like mainly what you do, tenant turnover and
Mhm,
the cosmetic renovations? Is that the
mhm.
kind of properties you're looking for?
Yeah, so to be completely honest, I feel like my mind was blown last week. I attended
Yeah.
Sarah Larby's mastermind.
Oh,
Like,
nice, nice.
it was incredible. So much value. The mastermind was about turning commercial buildings into residential multi-unit dwellings. So
Okay.
finding almost like some of them were like abandoned buildings. Like they were just like wide open, whether they were, one was a furniture store, or a furniture like holding place. So the ceilings were super high. It had like a loft type of vibe,
Ooh,
and
nice.
she had her architect was there and her renovation team. So they talked us through what laws, like what stuff we would have to apply for, and like the bylaws, and then talked us through the layout. Like he was just kind of envisioning it, like okay, there'd be like maybe could fit 7 bedrooms here, and the idea of the lift that is provided is insane because one, you don't have to kick anyone out because it's
Yep.
empty, and two, because you were providing so many, like you're dividing up the units. So versus one person paying for that whole commercial space, imagine putting in like 10 units. So the lift, the equity possibilities, like my mind
Yeah.
was blown.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually been noodling that as well, doing
Wise
some
construction. Sorry. That's what
sorry,
we're
what
talking about. Sorry, Wise Construction. They just popped in, and that's who I was talking about with the
oh, okay,
they're
dope.
the
Hey, there you go.
construction team. Hmm.
Good stuff. Everyone, take a screenshot of that. Make sure you reach out to them if you have any questions there. So like, what was your biggest not holdback, but what's your biggest challenge you see with that? Is it the zoning? Is it that you're getting the permits, or what do you think doing the commercial to residential flips, or not flips,
Um,
renovations?
yeah, I think it would be the permits. I think just because the city can be a bit slow. I know that it could take, yeah, you're kind of at their mercy. So in that time, if you could still get the drawings like done up, and or even during the due diligence, if you could start up, applying for those permits, I think it would help speed the time up. But I think that's the biggest hurdle. I think
Good
once you
stuff.
have the numbers, the deal speaks for itself.
Good. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. And is there like a guarantee you're looking to let the city, before you go firm, are you like, hey, can I go commercial to residential? Like, are you looking for that guarantee, or is there a little bit of,
No, all that's done in the due diligence phase, so you'll know. Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
okay. You know what? I won't even get into that. That could be a whole separate mastermind recap. So I'll leave that for now. Let me keep myself correct and move on to my second question. So what markets you've been investing in? I know you mentioned New Brunswick, but you also, we've looked at some other markets.
Yeah.
Where have you invested? Where have you looked? And where are you investing now?
Yeah, good question. So, like back in the day, we started looking in back in the day, Sudbury, and
Yeah,
then we kind of switched things up, and like kind of after doing our due diligence of getting to know the city, like we drove down, we had dinner with, well, I think you had her on your show last week, blonde, long hair. She's a mortgage. Um,
oh, Andy.
Andy, yeah. So
Yeah, yeah,
we had lunch, dinner with her and her partner, and like so
yeah.
we really, relationships is real, like relationships and community is really important to Ro and I. So we really
Yeah.
want to kind of be there, see our realtor face to face, and like just make that in-person connection. But
So,
unfortunately, we just couldn't make the numbers work.
yep.
So we changed gears, and then we went over to New Brunswick. And
Nice.
meeting Martin and Lynn, that was huge because they are really connected in the New Brunswick community. And so they were the ones that wholesaled our first deal.
Yeah, sweet. And hey, I'm telling you, you and Ro, like by definition, I think you guys are two of the most relationship-based investors that I've come across. I think if you guys did like your own mastermind just on relationship building, you'd blow investors out of the water. Like just the way you guys like approach situations. As soon as like we connected on social first, and then we met in person. I'm like, oh, these are my people. Like, and just
Right,
bringing that
right.
in. But I think that's important because a lot of people talk numbers. Oh, what strategy, what doors? And I'm like, nah, you're missing it. You're missing it. You got to get that, person to person, that relationship to make anything successful. And I think you guys are killing it in
Thank
that
you so
aspect.
much. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. I really
no
appreciate those
problem.
words.
That's good.
Oh.
So on the same thing of New Brunswick,
Mhm.
why New Brunswick? Why not, somewhere in PEI, or why not Florida?
Great question. So in Moncton or New Brunswick as a whole, they're supposed to be seeing about 40K immigrants. Um, yeah, from the oh man, I knew this. Where are they from? From um, Ukraine.
Okay, nice.
Yes, from Ukraine that are supposed to be immigrating to New Brunswick. And so all those people, they're going to need a place to stay, a place to
Yeah.
be. Um,
Okay.
and I also went to university in the Maritimes. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, well, thanks, Megan. Thanks, Wise. Sorry, dude.
Show them the
And
ring. What do you mean? You're not gonna do the ring? You're not gonna show them the
I
ring?
know I'm not wearing it. Don't judge me.
Oh,
Don't judge me.
we
Ooh.
won't tell nobody. We won't tell
Yeah.
nobody.
But I went to school in the Maritimes, so there's also that special place too. The tenant to landlord laws are also incredible, and the
Yeah,
numbers still work. And I
good.
feel like New Brunswick still has like I don't think they've hit their peak yet.
Gotcha.
So
You still think there's some room?
yeah, like we like the idea of being a part of a market that we could still grow with. I feel
Yeah,
like a lot of the markets, I feel like we missed the train. Like the train is gone, it's in the distance. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
there it goes. So we're trying to get as creative. We're trying to get super creative right now and enter in some Ontario markets. I know we've reached out to you because we were
Yeah,
dancing around we really like the numbers in Oshawa,
yeah.
and we really like the numbers in Hamilton. And they actually both have similar vibes,
100%.
Oshawa
I
and
think if you're
Hamilton.
born on the west side of the city, you're Hamilton, and if you're born
Yes.
on the east side, you talk about Oshawa.
100%. So I could
Yeah,
see why we're drawn to Hamilton, and mainly because Wise Construction's there too, and we've created a
yeah.
good relationship. So the trust when you're trying to do something super creative, you really have to have a team that you like trust and believe in.
100%. Going right back to your bread and butter relationships, guys. I'm
That's
telling
it.
you, like, it doesn't matter how many books you read or all that stuff.
I
Like, listen, if you're
know.
trying to make it damage, like you gotta get your team, you gotta get those relationships. That's perfect. We're gonna go high. We're gonna have to have our own mastermind. We're gonna
Yeah,
sell. It's gonna be a relationship. It's gonna be the relationship remix.
I
Yeah,
love it. I love. No, we should do that. We should actually do
I tell
that.
you, I don't know how we'd have so many ticket sales. I don't know what we do. We'd have so many sales, so many. It'd be crazy. Oh my goodness.
They're so much fun.
Um, Let me give you, Kate, let me get this last question in
Mhm.
here and then we can chat it up a bit. So, Black excellence, that's one of my favorite terms. Not because I'm like Black people over everything, but I think obviously being my
Mhm.
community, they have a special place in my heart.
Mhm.
So, and when I look at real estate investing, like if I take 15 real
Mhm.
estate investors, maybe there's two or
Mhm.
three guys from my community. So where do you think, or what would you say for people in our community, whether it's Black or minority, or even like, some of
Mhm.
the traditional people in there, what would you say for minorities looking into real estate investing?
Yeah, that is such a great question. I think, to be honest, I feel like every conversation I've had with a person of color, this topic has been brought up that,
Yeah,
there's not many of us in the room and, we have to represent. And I think there is so much power in setting an example of yourself. So even knowing that sometimes it's like terrifying to step out, you don't see anyone that looks like you, but knowing that people are watching, you can be the encouragement that someone needs to believe that
Exactly.
they can do it. So I feel like I've seen a couple people in the scene. I'm like, oh my gosh, they look like me, and
Yeah.
they're, successful and doing great. And it kind of gave Ramon and I the confidence to also try a thing, because we're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Exactly.
we see people, a few of us, but we see people, and
Yeah.
that really resonated with us, knowing that we could be encouraging someone else from afar just by us stepping out by faith.
That's awesome. And I,
Mhm.
I think that's like, you hit it on the head again. Like,
Mhm.
it's very easy for you to follow when you see someone who you can like identify with. And I
Mhm.
feel like that's different for everyone. Like
Right.
someone that I looked up to or identify with might be different than you, or
Mhm.
someone else we've met. But if you can be that person that someone else identifies, no matter if you are the most successful person, if you can help that one person take that step they needed, I think that should be like, more than enough. So I love
More
the way you're
than
looking
enough.
at that.
Yeah, more than enough. Just one.
Yeah,
Because
that's
we
good.
we had the one. We had one person that brought us here. So
Yeah.
yeah, we
And
got to
giving back, right? All
give
the
it back.
same. And have you also found that, like, especially in the real estate space, like everyone thinks it's like ultra competitive, but like I
Yes.
don't feel like it is. Like, offers
Yeah.
going out, but I never feel like it's ultra competitive.
100%. That was probably the biggest myth that was debunked when entering in this space
Yeah.
was people have been so friendly, like people like yourself, like we were chatting it up before we even met in person, and then
Yeah.
when we met in person, like people are offering, giving, like sharing their deals, they're sharing ideas, they're sharing nuggets. um, there is this approach that we can all eat. There's enough food at the table for everyone. Everyone's eating.
Everybody eats. Everybody eats.
Everybody. So I
Yeah.
love that I love that feeling, knowing that we're not all crawling to like kind of get the same deal. There's enough. There's enough out there for all
Yeah.
of us.
I almost feel like the more, like when I started, don't get me wrong, I was kind of like, hey, I can't tell people because everyone will do it. But the more I've just been like, hey, yeah, like this is exactly, hey, this is the deal. This is the address. This is the owner's name. This is his phone number. Hey, take a look at this deal. I'd be like, oh, someone's going to take it. No, nobody does
Mhm.
that. Everyone's like, oh, sick deal, Isaiah. Like, I would maybe try this and this. Someone, same thing. They bring me a deal and they're like,
Right.
oh, what do you think? I have all the info. I could do it. Like, that whole thing about people taking deals or stealing or even like fighting for it. I just don't feel that. And if
Mhm.
you're the person who is doing that, you're not going to
Mhm.
last very long in these circles. I'll tell you that for free.
100%. There is something like reciprocal in nature. Like if you're throwing stuff out, it's gonna come right back to you.
Right back. Right
It's
back.
so beautiful. Yeah, I
That's good.
agree.
That's
100%.
awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that's all the questions I had here. Did you have any for me before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just had two questions for you. I was just
Bring it on.
curious. Yeah, I was curious on what was your, just because I don't know much about your story, but I'm curious on what was your um entry into real estate? Like who was it? Like was it someone that initiated, like how did you get into this space?
Yeah, for sure. So it wasn't a person for me. It was
Mhm.
more like something that I've been taught my whole life that didn't seem to click. So it was like,
Mhm.
hey, you gotta go to school, go to school, get a job, and you're good. I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, bet I can do that. So I'm like, good grades, try to stay on the straight and
Mhm.
narrow. Went to Laurier, played some ball there, got a
Mhm.
education, came out, got a job. I'm like, okay,
Here I
now what?
am.
I thought you guys said I was good. I am not
Mhm.
good. I am nervous. This is not good. And
Mhm.
I'm like, there's
Mhm.
gotta be something else. And I've always been entrepreneurial, so I tried every hustle. Like if you go back to some of these old search histories, bro, I tried everything, like everything under the sun. And it's like,
Wow.
man, this is not sustainable. Like I can't do this.
Right.
And then the first thing I did, we got the first one we got was a pre-con. I saw
Mhm.
that and I saw what that did, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm in. Let me get good at
Mhm.
this. So I started doubling down on that, and then from
Mhm.
there, I've grown to where we are today.
Wow, that's amazing. I feel like
Yeah,
there's people like you and like Ro that just something in them never like hearing like, you know, the traditional steps. I feel like you both were like, that's not gonna work.
No,
Um,
that's not it. That's not
that's
it. That's
not
how I was
it.
feeling. Man.
And I feel
Mhm.
like I felt that way, but just pressure from my family to like, what do you mean? That's the only way type of deal
Yeah.
that I felt pressure to continue. So I think once I married Ro, I felt so inspired to also step out and do some of the things that I really wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And just on that point quickly, like you said, like, that was the way. But back in the day, that made sense because if you got that university degree, it put you into a different category of people that
Yes.
you could, grow scale. You were the person who was buying a house. You were the person who could get the car. You were the person with the life. But if
100%.
you are in this area now, that degree, that piece of paper and a job doesn't really separate you and doesn't really push you ahead. So,
I think
being a little bit more creative, how you're building wealth or your assets are that's why I chose real estate at least.
I love that. And then I guess my second question is I'm just curious because you're so good at giving advice and at sharing what you know as well.
Yeah.
So I'd love, just because a lot of our friends are, like young adults just kind of
Yep.
starting to get their life together. And what would you, if you had to give them one piece of advice in regards to them stepping out and also wanting to invest, um,
Yeah.
what would that be?
So I'm like, most one thing I would say. First of all, don't buy nothing stupid. Everyone did it. Don't do it. Just
Mhm.
don't, please. Because everyone tells everyone not to do it, but you do it anyway. And you
Right.
said, "Oh, I'll be the exception." No, you won't be. Just don't do it, please. I
Right.
bought the new car. I'm guilty. I did it. Don't do it.
Mhm.
Please don't do it. But
Mhm.
what I really would say, if you're starting out, man, house hack. I didn't get an opportunity to do it because I didn't know what I know. Bro, you got a house hack. If you can house hack, you lower that living expense. Well, one, you lower the living expense. Two, you're going to get cash flow. Three, you're going to get all the other benefits of real estate, and you can be a landlord with training wheels. Like, if I did that, I would
100%.
be so far ahead.
Oh,
So
that's a
far ahead.
good one. That is a good one.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I made a quick video on it. Like, people gave me some slack for it, but I'm like, chill out. 5% down, you're going to get good financing. Get in, cut it
yeah,
in the bottom, practice. Like, I'm telling you, that is such a powerful strategy, at least in my opinion, to really
right.
blow up and move it that way.
Do I have time to ask you one more question?
You, of course, of course.
Last one is just with this current market, I feel like everyone's talking about this, about interest rates and as an investor, has the increase in interest rates or the talk of it continuing to raise, has that changed your strategy at
Nope,
all?
nope, 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 absolutely, nope, nope.
You're
Mm-mm.
still like,
Listen, I'm buying, bro. I had a walkthrough done today. I am buying.
I
I
love
am
it.
buying. And this is it. Okay, yes, interest rates are gonna go up. That's okay. You got to be, because how are you gonna be mad if
Mhm,
interest rates are low? Prices go through the roof. Nobody can buy anything anyway.
mhm.
Interest rates go up. People are like, oh, people, the price is too high. Can't afford anything anyway. Guys, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
That's so
I
true.
just I just say, hey, these are the rules of the game that I'm playing. I can't change them. I can't, no matter how many letters I write to Mr. Trudeau, he's not listening to me. The Bank of Canada is going to do what they do.
Mhm,
As that happens, all you need to do is make sure you're investing with strong fundamentals in
mhm,
markets that you trust, doing
mhm,
a strategy that you're knowledgeable with, and the rest is going to come. It's the people who
mhm,
are reaching and speculating, they get in a little
mhm,
bit of hot water. But if you're following the fundamentals, you're an expert in your market, and you got
mhm,
a good team behind you, go on, fill
mhm.
your booth. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Epic.
That was so
Well,
good.
that's man. We could be here chatting for hours, but I know you have another one tonight at 7 too, right?
Yeah, just the
Good stuff.
recap for
Good
both
stuff.
you.
Because I want to make sure I get myself a drink and a snack so I can come watch that one.
Oh, thank you.
No,
Thanks.
it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, let me close this one out.
Mhm,
So it's Isaiah Henry here, first position real estate.
mhm,
We had on Kamisha from Russell Home Investing. Ravon was not on this one, so don't
mhm.
think he's just taking a time out. He will be back for another one.
Cool.
But Kamisha, where can people find more about you, what you're doing, your business? How can they connect?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, people could find me on Instagram at Russell Holmes Investing. We're also on Facebook too. I feel like we're the most active on Instagram. We have our girl Megan on here. She helps us with our Instagram too. Holla, holla. She's great. And so I think Instagram is probably our best form of communication. We
Yeah,
love, like we said at the beginning, I love relationships. So please hit us up, schedule a chat.
I love it.
Girl.
That's good. All right. Well, hey, if anyone has any questions, New Brunswick joint ventures, multifamily, Burr, this is your girl. Rovon's your guy. Chat them up. They're doing some really big things, and they love to build relationships. So these are good people. That's all for me, and thank you so much for joining me today. It was awesome. But until next time, you guys have yourself a great day, and thanks for joining me, Kamisha.
No problem. Bye.
Have a good one. All right.